Okay, so for those of you who want some support on this worksheet, quadratic functions performance task, we're going to talk about quadratic graphs. So this is a pumpkin chunking launched from a platform in a field. So you can see they have the catapult sign set up here. Right? The height in feet after t seconds is given by the equation h of t equals negative 16t squared plus 64t plus 64. So this is the equation. And hopefully you notice that this is a quadratic equation with that squared there. So this is an equation to represent the launch of the pumpkin. Okay, so to complete the table, it says find h of t for each of these t values. So I'm going to just look at the first couple just so you can see if t is 0. So we're going to plug in 0, negative 16 times 0 squared plus 64 times 0 plus 64. We have negative 16 times 0. 64 times 0 plus 64. So 64 would be the answer. So we put 64 in the box. And then you're going to say, what is, I'll go to the last one. So we'll kind of do a little one at the beginning and one at the end. So same idea, negative 16 times 6 squared plus 64 times 6 plus 64. So you're going to grab a calculator or whatever you're using to calculate this. So negative 6, so we'd use a 6 squared first, which is 36. So we have negative 16 times 36, which is negative 576, plus 64 times 6 is 384 plus 64. So if we add that together, negative 576 plus 384 plus 64 is negative 128. So we put a negative 128 at the 6. You're going to go through and do each of these. Make sure you show your work. Okay, so if you can't fit it on here, you're doing this work on scrap paper, redraw this table and show your work for each number. So plug in the number for t, use order of operations and find the values. So then it says, what does the t represent in this situation? There's a big hint in the expression up here to tell you what t is. What does the h of t represent in this situation? And it tells you that up here as well. Okay, so hint right there. What is the domain and range of this situation? So domain and range is the possible values. So domain is going to be the possible t values. Okay, so if you think about it, t is going to be a set of numbers. Once you get your set of numbers, think of what possible t values there are. And then the range is the possible h of t values. So what are the possible values you could get for h of t? You might end up wanting to look at the next page and figure this out afterwards. Remember domain and range in this situation, what are the possible values? So once you do the back side, you might have a better luck with this. So what is the vertex? So to find the vertex, you're going to use x equals negative b over 2a and plug in, actually you're going to do axis of symmetry first. So do your axis of symmetry, plug in for the equation and find axis of symmetry. And then once you have that, plug it in to find your vertex. Okay, so this is what we've been practicing, so you should be able to do that. And then for number 7, once you've got that, you're going to create a graph. T is going to be on the bottom and h of t is going to be on the side. Figure out the values from your table. Make sure you scale out your graph on both dimensions. So make sure you scale this out appropriately. Make sure you scale this out appropriately. Start with 0 here and then plot your points. We know we should see a parabola. Once you have that done, make sure you label your axes again and put your scale. Then it asks for what the y-intercept is. So find your y-intercept and state what it means in this situation. What is the x-intercept? Okay, what does that mean in this problem? And then what is the maximum height? So you're looking for the vertex. Remember, the maximum height is the vertex. And what does that mean? How high will this pumpkin go? Okay, so use this video as a guide to help you figure out each part of the problem. So we are using and graphing a standard form of a quadratic equation, which is what we've been working on the last couple days. And it breaks down all the parts so you can get your graph done nicely and then answer the questions. There is 3 YouTube videos besides this one. You need to watch 2 of the 3 and write a 3 to 5 sentence reflection about what you learned about Punkin, Chunkin, anything that thought was cool, anything you didn't know, whatever it is that you want to reflect on, 3 to 5 sentences on 2 of the 3 videos. You can pick the 2 you want to watch.